Let me tell you my opinion on Luke Beasley. He's got what, like 1 million subscribers on YouTube. I actually think he's probably a moderate with slightly right-leaning. The reason why he can't actually give you answers to any of his opinions is because he knows that there isn't a correct response. For instance, if
he's trapped, isn't he? When I met him, I sensed he was kind of a prisoner of his own.
Right. There have been many instances where he's said something, and then I've asked him for an example, and he can't give one. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, he actually knows that what I was saying was true and correct. But the reason why he can't give an example is because he can't defy his audience.
Yeah. The left claims that there's more right-wing political violence. And then I'm like, what are you talking about? Remember the so-called Summer of Love, BLM riots every single night for a month straight after St. Floyd died, RIP, finally sober. Anyways, Tim Pool and Milo shred apart. My co-host from The Grudge, Luke Beasley, he is a liberal podcaster. He has over 1 million subscribers here on YouTube, and I do a weekly show with him called The Grudge, and Milo brings up some fair points that I probably should consider. And Tim Pool, who has had many viral clips of him and Luke getting into crazy debates. You definitely have seen them. I haven't even covered them here yet. I don't know why. So let me just show you guys what Milo and Tim Pool have to say about Luke Beasley. Let's get into it. And Milo also mentions me here. You will see that in just a second.
Exactly what Kanye was doing. It's exactly what Ye was doing. It works a lot better than getting wrapped
only because X.com allows it. There's now a place for it, and that's why.
I noticed. So there's a little sex pot who I very much enjoy by the name of Isabella Moody. She's a very pretty young lady. In fact, she's the only like non-Latina. Maybe she is Latina, Isabella, possibly. I'm into Latinas. Can you believe what a cross that is to bear? Can you imagine?
I love that. What a cross that is to bear. Milo is very funny, and thank you, Milo, for calling me a little sex pot. I very much appreciate that. Very flattered here.
Imagine you go through all the hell of changing your sexuality, and then you discover you're into Latinas. I know I can't handle that. I know I can't handle that.
Who can, honestly?
So anyway, she's lovely, and she does a show with some leftist, and under each video, he's got this like 2-paragraph long disclaimer about what a terrible piece of whatever she is. You know, I was like,
honestly, I haven't even read the disclaimer or the description. Honestly, I still haven't to this day. And you know what? He has a very, left-wing audience. They don't think that people like him should give people like me a platform. So he kind of has to give a little trigger warning for them. So I don't blame him. I don't even care. I'm kind of someone that doesn't really care what people think about me. So you can say I'm the worst person to ever exist. It doesn't make me the worst person to ever exist. I'm very confident in who I am, and that's fine. But I do appreciate Milo sticking up for me here. I do appreciate it. Thank you, Milo.
I just believe that inviting people with reprehensible opinions, is necessary, because the audience just can't take it. They just cannot handle it. And so I personally, no disrespect to the lovely Isabella, but I don't think we should be submitting ourselves willingly to that kind of patronizing condescension when we won. I
agree.
We won. I'm seeing her next week for dinner. I'm going to tell her to pull out the show because everything she does is framed by that terribly condescending, it's sort of, there's a premise granted at the beginning of it that she's on there as a kind of gargoyle, as a grotesque, as a
Kimberly Gargoyle, the gargoyle. Kimberly I can't even say her last name, okay? You guys liked it when I called her this last time. Kimberly Gargoyle, who dated both Gavin Newsom and Donald Trump Jr. Yeah. She's also, by the way, she dated Donald Trump Jr. and she's older than Melania. Very strange stuff, guys. But yeah, gargoyle. It's okay. I'll be a gargoyle. That's fine. But I get his point. I do.
Sort of caricature of what an evil right-wing person. And I met this guy in a bar 2 days ago in DC, just coincidentally.
You're talking about Luke Beasley?
Yes, I think so. The one with the awful clothes.
Yeah, he's been here.
Yeah, he's been here several times.
I mean, he's somebody who's got sort of medium verbal IQ and just absolutely no actual intelligence at all. It's just I wouldn't be surprised to discover
he's been on the show several times, and when asked to explain why he believes things, he doesn't have answers.
No, I asked him. I said, "What's the worst thing?" I said, "What's the worst thing Isabella believes, or the worst thing she said?" I asked him 4 times. He couldn't give me an example, and I said, "Because it's funny because if you can't give an example of something awful that she believes, and yet you are humiliating and disrespecting her with this gigantic disclaimer underneath every single video because your audience are fragile retards who can't handle it. This is so rude, and I don't think we should be submitting ourselves to that anymore because we won, they lost, they're idiots, we're brilliant. Let's just stop."
That's why Taylor got.
Okay, I see Milo's point here, and it's definitely something for me, obviously, to consider. But honestly, Luke treats me, my husband, my daughter, he treats us very well. It's okay. Like, it doesn't bother me that his audience hates me. There's obviously going to be conflict, and that's just the way it is, and that's totally fine. But yes, things to consider for sure. Please let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. I'm very curious your thoughts. If you guys think it makes sense for me to be doing it, I still enjoy talking to someone I disagree with. It kind of forces me to study up on policies more and learn, like, actually educate myself on the positions I espouse, and it's kind of forced me to just study up more, which is a cool and a great challenge. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. By the way, make sure you subscribe, guys, like today's video, and we'll get right back to it, because now Tim Pool's about to go off on Luke Beasley. Watch.
Got booed.
Exactly. Yep. In a world where Taylor Swift gets booed and Donald Trump, think back to 5 years ago, when Donald Trump gets a standing ovation from every household in the country and everybody in that stadium, we don't need to submit ourselves to this condescension anymore.
And honestly, that's a very interesting point. Like, you guys obviously, I'm sure, saw the Super Bowl clips. I don't watch the Super Bowl because I think sports are cringe. Anyways, the fact that Taylor Swift got booed and Donald Trump cheered, I mean, we are living in a brand new America. The pendulum is finally swinging in our direction, and I'm freaking here for it. Comment MAGA if you agree.
Well, screw you guys. You lost. Go and crawl into a dark hole somewhere and cry, and come back to us when you're ready to fight. I don't think there's any reason for us to engage in any kind of debate or discussion whatsoever anymore. I think laugh, call them something. Call them something I can't say on this show, and then move on.
Let me tell you my opinion on Luke Beasley. He's got like 1 million subscribers on YouTube. I actually think he's probably a moderate with slightly right leaning. The reason why he can't actually give you answers to any of his opinions is because he knows that there isn't a correct response. For instance, if
he's trapped, isn't he? When I met him, I sensed he was kind of a prisoner of his own.
Right. I'll give you an example that doesn't necessarily pertain to him, but it's just a general concept. Like, if he says, and again, I'm not. This is not anything he's ever said to me. I'm saying it's a hypothetical. What I mean to say is, if someone said to you, "Women, it's not fair. They don't get paid the same as men," and then you responded with, okay, explain to me, like, you do realize that job for job, women get paid sometimes more than men, especially younger women get paid more than men. And they respond with, I don't need to go into examples, and I'm not going to explain this. There have been many instances where he's said something, and then I've asked him for an example, and he can't give one. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, he actually knows that what I was saying was true and correct. But the reason why he can't give an example is because he can't defy his audience.
Yeah. And
I do think this is kind of the struggle. If you are a left-wing or left-leaning content creator, you kind of are a slave to your audience a little bit. I'm not saying that Luke is at all. I'm not saying that at all. But I will say, like, your audience, like, his audience gets really annoyed with him, and some refuse to watch the show because I'm on there. Okay, like, you kind of have to understand that there's certain topics, even if you think them, you can't really say them because your audience is going to be so pissed and want to cancel you. So that's just we talk about how on the right, if we talk about right-wing policies or we have the right-wing agenda that we're espousing online, that maybe social media platforms will ban us and we get shadow banned, et cetera, et cetera. If you are a left-leaning content creator, then your own audience might turn against you. And instead of a technology platform banning you or your job firing you, you will have your audience boycott you and your audience is gone. So these points are kind of valid. Again, I'm not saying this applies to Luke, but I get their sentiment here for sure. I mean, these are the criticisms that we see Anna Kasparian when she was just criticizing Hassan, also known as Chunky Yogurt's nephew, on Twitter, saying that he's a slave to his audience and that he can't stand them. And she says that she knows that for a fact. So very interesting stuff here. By the way, comment Chunky Yogurt for the algorithm, because help boost your girl in the algorithm, obviously.
I think you're right about that. And I met him, and sometimes I go like straight in on people.
Real quick, sorry, just let me put one more thing in it. It's because as we know, being right-wing just means you follow the news. To be, but it's true.
Well, that right-wing conspiracy is just something CNN hasn't reported yet.
Right. To be a liberal is to believe things that are not correct. And I'll give you an example. When the Burisma scandal happened, and Joe Biden literally said at I believe it was a CFR event or something, I told them, unless you fire the prosecutor, you won't get the $1 billion. That is a fact that he said that and did those things. That instantly had me labeled conservative. But that's not a conservative position. That's just reporting the news.
It's not a political position at all.
But that's what it means today.
I don't believe.
So this is the point. When you get these liberals, for example, I'll give you Hunter Avallone came on the show, and he smugly said that never happened. He has to say that because his audience would call him a conservative if he admitted it was true.
No, it's not the audience. I think
you know he started.
You know, and sometimes I do feel like that happens with me and Luke, where I will say something and he just, like, we have just completely different understandings of the world, that sometimes we have debates that run in circles because there's no one conceding, because we just have completely different worldviews. I feel like the left will gaslight the right. The left claims that there's more right-wing political violence, and then I'm like, what are you talking about? Remember the so-called Summer of Love, BLM riots every single night for a month straight after St. Floyd died, RIP, finally sober. Anyways, it's like, were your eyes not open then? But I mean, this is why the conversations can get really tiresome. But in Luke's defense, I do believe that he is smart. He's a good guy. And even though, yes, he makes me maybe look like a gargoyle idiot, it's okay, because it forces me to challenge my beliefs, and I'm okay with that, honestly. Honestly, if a lot of people hate me online, like I've always said, if people who I disagree with on everything condemn me and hate me, then I consider that an endorsement, because what would it say if there was a bunch of leftists that loved me? Seriously. What would it say about me? Nothing good.
It's a Milo mega fan, and the reason do you remember?
Sure
do you remember this, Serge? And the reason he started wearing aviators was because of me. And I've got some amazing DMs from him from like 2014, 15. I haven't released them yet. But
Tim, I think
they are
Let's let your glasses,
they are
Milo.
oleaginous. They are.
Nick, what were you saying?
You're getting close to something here at the psychology I've never been able to understand, because what you just described with the Biden clip that the man watched, everyone.
Okay, we're going to cut it off here because I think that's the end of them talking about this. Please, I really, like, out of all videos, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you guys think? Have you checked out The Grudge? Do you think I'm wasting my time doing the show, or do you enjoy people who have disagreeing or opposing opinions, debating issues all the time? Please let me know in the comments below. If you made it to the end of the video, please comment an orange heart. It really does help boost the video and the algorithm, and I would greatly appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. I hope you guys will have a great day. Bye. And thank you, Milo, for the kind words. Okay, I guess I'm a sex pot now, an orange sex pot. Let's freaking go. Or maybe comment sex pot. There we go. Let's make this video different. Okay, I'm rambling. Bye.